about some of our land management initiatives that we've had. Mayor, Alderman, I gave you a set of handouts. There's one page right here that I like to refer to. And folks, I'm sorry, I just didn't have enough time to make copies for everyone, and one of these days we'll have a better screen where I can put this up on the board. But if you remember, over the last couple of months, I've been trying to emphasize better asset management on the things that we have internally and using our external partnerships better to lower cost, raise revenue, and thus you create margin and efficiencies. And that's really what we've been all about over the last 7 months. I'm very pleased to announce that we have put to bed some of the land management around our sewer treatment facility and some of our other properties. Instead of mowing, we're actually going to be able to produce something. So I'd like to go over this. We've talked about it before, but now we're ready to kind of ink it. If you look at the 50 acres that we were talking about over by the airport runway that is owned by the IDB, Jerry Tolbert, who is a local farmer who plants soybeans, he manages about 1,500 acres for various people to plant his crops. We've expanded that contract to include that 50 acres. He pays us $83 an acre, so that'll give us new revenue of $4,150 and cutting down our maintenance expense and saving our equipment. Over by the police station, we have 10 acres behind that building. Jerry is also going to plant soybeans there at $83 an acre, so that's another $830 worth of new revenue, cutting costs, raising revenue. We also have 36 acres that's at the end of one of the runways that previously the city had been mowing, that the airport is going to allow Jerry to plant soybeans there as well. So that's another $2,988 to the city. Over at the stadium, we have 2 fields at the far end of the land on the left and on the right, approximately 19 acres. And again, Jerry is going to put that into soybeans at $83 an acre, giving the city new revenue of $1,577. So that's new revenue to the city. And while it's not big money, it's efficient money, and it's new money of $9,545. At the same time, you lower your labor costs, save your equipment, and your men can actually go out and do other things besides sit on a tractor in the hot sun and mow grass. Also at the YMCA, we had been cutting the 6 acres of property that they own. I've met with the YMCA. They will be taking that over themselves because we really shouldn't be cutting private properties, companies' land. At the sewer treatment plant, we have 105 acres over there. And if you remember, it's kind of splotched with various fields and wooded in between. And we have to continually put our sludge into these fields, plow it under to get the right nitrogen and nutriments to grow crops and do other things. Ray and Marvin and Barry Sneed are a great family here in town that farm, I think, over 15,000 acres. And they have been gracious enough to take on that contract where they can grow a few crops. There's probably only 20 or 30 acres of corn that's available to grow over there. For the Sneeds, that's a nice garden. But for us, that's a big deal because they have agreed to plow in all of that sludge on a monthly basis, and they're really doing it because they love the city. And the Sneeds are just great people. So that really gives us 226 acres that we have under what we call land management. And all these contracts are in place, ready to go. So of the 226 acres under management, 121 of those acres we will not be mowing. I know that's going to make Billy Rajane really happy. And it gives us $9,545 worth of new dollars plus reduced labor. It gives the IDB board $4,980 new dollars. And the deal the city has with the IDB, they don't pay us to mow, but they buy equipment for us as we need it. So that gives them a little more money to buy equipment for our guys to mow what is left. So everyone wins. It's a good example of taking an asset and just utilizing it smarter and wiser. And we're finding that all over the city, and we're going to continue to do that. The only thing that's not on this list are the proposed sale of the 2 lots that is on the agenda at the end that I will bring up for approval later on by the Board of Mayor and Alderman. The second thing I want to talk about is basically, if you remember at the last meeting, Alderman Dagan asked myself and Charles Charlie Goforth and Derek to go and meet with one of the trailer parks, Dick Moore, and come to resolution on some of the permitting that's been going on after the flood. If you remember, Mr. Moore suffered great loss during the flood of 2010-11, and we now have settled with him when we start permitting all of his equipment and trailers over there. There are basically 15 left that were damaged that we are going to waive so that he can fix them up, get them rented, and as they rent, we will then start getting permits. So basically it's settled. And Alderman, we're going to have a letter and paperwork drawn up for the next meeting to present. This is for information only because I know you asked the question. One of the contentions that we had was during this period of time, the city had waived those fees, and we did those electrical permits ourselves. Since that time, we've moved those electrical permits, and they cost the city about $50. And so it's really not right to promise a man one thing and make a change in midstream. And so the city is going to be liable for about $500 of that. Once we get that over with and done, we're off and running. He has to get permits now for everything he does. The other point was a sign that was damaged in the flood, and a new sign has been put up. It's prettier than the one he had. He did put it a little bit too close to the sidewalk, and he has agreed to move that for safety, and that will be done. So all that's been done. It will be inked and presented at the next board meeting. That takes me to the next subject on sign ordinances. I'm very, very happy with Charlie Goforth, and for those of you that were here at the planning meeting, we're making great strides in making our sign ordinance more business friendly. We have had meetings with McDonald's, Hampton Inns, various business customers, and we're making great strides. They're happy, we're happy. Charlie has been meeting with business customers, citizens around the community, and I'm extremely pleased at what's going on. Over the next few months, Charles will be writing up our new ordinances, presenting it to all of you in some work sessions, presenting it to our aldermen, make sure you guys are happy with it, and we'll be putting that to bed and at rest, and I think you're going to see some great work there. Charles, we really appreciate all your hard work, and we want that to continue into next year and budget for you to continue that. Don't go anywhere. Okay.